All right, good morning, everyone. This is meteorologist Andrew Kren from the National Weather Service here in Raleigh, North Carolina, to give you your routine Thursday weekly briefing. This will cover the period November 3rd through November 9th. It's really hard to believe that it's already November. It seems like the year has already flown by. Let's give you your weekly briefing. Let's go into it. This is our latest regional radar across the Carolinas. There is a weak upper level system that is right now offshore of North Carolina, and it's producing some light showers towards Hatteras and towards the Outer Banks. That precipitation will not reach us today, but some of that moisture may reach us tomorrow, and we'll go into that here shortly. But just a precursor to what we'll discuss later in the briefing, that this same system that is off the Carolinas today will be a potential impact for us toward the middle to latter part of next week. So just kind of a heads up there. So let's go into the upcoming weather pattern for central North Carolina. Just some key points. We have high pressure that will extend into the area today, and actually that high pressure will kind of extend into the area through much of the period, actually. Easterly onshore flow tomorrow from that surface high will warrant the chance of some isolated showers or sprinkles over the coastal plain. We're really not expecting much of any precipitation. Maybe potentially a couple hundredths of an inch, if that. So it's going to stay dry for the most part tomorrow. We have an approaching system from the west this weekend that is noticeable in the image in the top right. It's kind of moving into the Great Lakes, but some of that energy as well as the onshore flow could favor some light showers across the western Piedmont. We're thinking primarily areas along the Triad into Davidson, Randolph County, those areas. Most areas along and east of US 1 should stay dry. Then we have a large non-tropical area of low pressure. Again, I mentioned it's currently off the coast of the Carolinas today. That is forecast to develop over the southwest Atlantic into this weekend, and then take a west and northwestward track by the middle to latter part of next week. That would favor increasing rain chances. Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty as to where that system is going to go, how strong it may be. So still a lot that needs to be kind of ironed out as we get closer, but we'll continue to monitor that, as that could potentially be our most hazardous impact towards late next week. Overall temperatures are going to be above normal through much of the period, with potentially more near normal temperatures as we get into the middle of next week. Looking at accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 5 days. Again, today we are dry. If you're moving towards the coast, there'll be some light showers around. Tomorrow and Saturday, we're going to have some light precipitation across mainly the western Piedmont. That continues potentially into midday Sunday. And then we'll primarily be dry on Monday and into Tuesday. The next chance of precipitation besides Saturday, Sunday will most likely be the middle part of next week, and most especially the latter part of next week. So overall, the 5-day total precipitation amounts look to be fairly light, with the highest amounts potentially maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch across the western Piedmont. This is our observed rainfall over the last 7 days over the state. We actually had a decent amount of rain over some portions of central North Carolina that occurred the evening of Halloween into November 1st. Not everyone received this very beneficial rain, but we did see some areas across the eastern Piedmont and the central coastal plain that had upwards of 2 inches of rain. Still had a lot of areas that didn't really receive the rain that desperately need it. But a large section of the area received anywhere from a tenth to a quarter, potentially a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. But really, portions of like southern Wake, Johnston, Harnett, going into Franklin, and some of those areas, they ended up seeing kind of the most amount of rain from the system. Going into, so we had October is over, so we're into November. We thought we would show you the precipitation summary for the month of October. This is courtesy of the State Climate Office here in North Carolina. You can see much of that map is pretty much brown, and that indicates that much of central North Carolina experienced below normal to well below normal rainfall for the month. Statewide, that pretty much comes out to roughly 2 inches on for the month if you average it across the entire state. And that's about 1.6 inches below our 30-year average for October. So we certainly were fairly dry for the month of October, pretty much since the passage of Ian, which almost seems quite a while ago. So we've been fairly dry since then. Just another note is Fayetteville only recorded 0.26 inches of rain for the month of October, and that led to its 5th driest October on record. So because of that, the drought monitor across the portions of North Carolina and central North Carolina, they have introduced and expanded abnormally dry conditions across much of the state. Only a few pockets where there is no abnormally dry conditions, and that's primarily where we saw the rain Halloween night into November 1st. More than 83% of the state is in that abnormally dry conditions. We also have moderate drought that has emerged across the Sandhills and the southern coast. So we could really use some rain, and potentially if we get any kind of tropical type system middle to latter part of next week, that would be potentially beneficial. Going into excessive rainfall outlook, since we're not expecting anything major the next couple of days, flash flooding is not expected at this time. Severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. We are not expecting any severe weather through the next 7 days. Most of that activity is going to stay well to our west. This is our latest regional satellite. It's probably more evident here. You can see my cursor pretty much as there is a circulation off the coast of the Carolinas. And this is that same system that the National Hurricane Center is potentially watching. This large area highlighted in yellow, that's kind of over the Southwest Atlantic and north of the Caribbean. There is another area that has produced some disorganized showers and storms east of Bermuda, but that potential disturbance is not expected to become anything tropical. It's this area that's in the Southwest Atlantic and the Northern Caribbean Sea that we are watching. That's that same system right now off the coast of the Carolinas. It could produce, it becomes subtropical or tropical beginning early next week. So we are still in the hurricane season that officially ends November 30th. So we don't want to let our guard down. Right now, we don't want to say too much, but we want to keep you informed, and we will continue to monitor this potential system if it does develop and have any kind of tropical characteristics. For right now, we're just looking at potentially increasing rain chances toward the middle to latter part of next week. Our 8 to 14 day outlook, which is courtesy of the Climate Prediction Center, favors both above normal temperatures and above normal precipitation. Our actual normal high and low temperature for Raleigh shows temperatures in the mid 60s and lows in the lower 40s. So right now, that's kind of what we are looking in the more medium range forecast. All right, for a weather summary, we have easterly onshore flow under high pressure will favor those isolated to scattered light showers tomorrow and this weekend. Temperatures will be above normal through much of the period under high pressure. There will be a large non-tropical area of low pressure that could develop some tropical characteristics as it moves west-northwest by the middle of next week, right now favoring increasing rain chances as we get into the middle of next week. We don't have any hazardous weather expected at this time, but we will continue to monitor the tropics for some increasing rain chances in the middle to latter part of next week.